Yeah, campers are slow right now.
So this week unfortunately started out in the red once again at local international dealership, this time picking up a tractor protection valve as I had another air valve leaking, but I think we're done playing whack-a-mole on air leaks.
So let's talk about it because everybody else pretty much already has. We've got a Riverstone. Actually, how fitting. If you don't watch the Riverstone life, check them out. Awesome videos from William and his wife there. They're also RV transporters. But yeah, we've got one fifth wheeler Riverstone, then we've got my two Wolf Pups. And that's it for this yard. Driveway is looking really good back there. If you can't tell, driveway's got plenty of work right now. I'm not your guy to talk to about that. I couldn't even tell you what the rates are. I personally have no desire to do it, but I know some people make a living doing it, and you know, hey, good on them for that. So here's my two, the only two that we have right now. I got lucky. I haven't had a load, an outbound load at all last week. We were going to do the boats, and that did not pan out at all. That was a whole nightmare story in itself. So I got on the list, and I waited, and we got this load going to Byron, Georgia. Not bad. It's like 795 miles. It's shorter than what I usually do, and frankly, I don't like running to the south because I'm a pretty well insulated guy. I like the northern states where it's cooler. Sweat a bit more down south, but you know, hey, beggars aren't choosers. I'm certainly not going to be picky about it. We're just happy to have some work here. And yeah, it's better than nothing. So we'll load these two up. I'm trying to see if I can find a car to go with them because they are really, really small. And then hopefully by then, one of the brokers I reached out to will get back with me and tell me that we've got a car to go south. There's a couple in Indy I'd like to try to get, but we'll see. So, all right. Let's do it.
Connor from the end of the week here, and not only did we not get a car, I actually checked the paperwork, and this was the first load at our new rate of $2.65 per mile, compared to the $2.75 a mile we've been getting. Now, that being said, as you can see, we're going to pull out the height stick here and double check, because although these are short, stubby little units, they have really big air conditioners on top. This height stick is available on Amazon, or you can get it from Martin Ace Hardware. I highly recommend that every step deck driver has one of these, because you never know what you're going to get into with camper loads. Paperwork that I had said that these were 10 feet 11 inches tall, and I'm glad I double checked because they were not that tall. They were actually about 10 foot 1 inch. Ran into Wave Express's only haul and tow driver at the Petro at Glendale, Kentucky. We both quickly discussed our plans to try to get south and unloaded before this wet and wild hurricane rolled in. So we'd bed down for the night just north of Calhoun, Georgia, at the rest area on I-75 South, and little did I know that Wet and Wild was going to be the perfect way to describe this week. It started off around midnight when a truck parked on the passenger side of me, and as you can see, it was already kind of tight on that side, and I don't know why he thought it was a good spot to park, but he did. And I woke up to the sound of another truck running into him. So, that was not good. He got stuck there. Apparently, he snapped an airline or something when he hit the P&S truck, the blue truck that was there. And then I got told by Georgia Highway Patrol and the county sheriff to actually go ahead and move my truck while off duty and actually park on the off ramp, which, if any of you truckers know Georgia, they are big about not parking on and off ramps. But they let me go ahead and move up there for the night so that way they could get in and fix the stuck truck. Now, due to the incoming hurricane, I did make the decision not to film anything at unloading and only just grab a couple things when I was loading my backhauls because of time constraint. I really wanted to get out of there, and as I think we've all seen now, I made the right call. I also made the call to only grab 2 cars instead of 3 coming back because I really didn't want to get stuck down there for any reason, and sometimes better just make the safe call instead of trying to get greedy. We're going to have a really easy version of every car hauler's favorite game today, because they don't have that many vehicles up here, but oh, maybe they do. Alright, let's play every car hauler's favorite game. Which car is ours? Oh, hey, that's easy today. Here's another great reason why if you do multi-haul, you need one of these. Got this Buick to roll off. Can't get it in neutral because it needs power to get into neutral. So, jump box to the rescue. Now we got power. Well, not enough to start, or it's got a starter out, something. Who knows, but we can get into neutral at least. Or not, because the shifter's broken. Alright, this just got fun. Alright, so we got that little piece in there, and now this will shift. But the brakes are kind of spongy, so we're going to go put the winch on it and roll it off just to be safe. Alright, so now the winch is in place. We want to take our ever important axle strap and probably going to go around the control arm or somewhere. There's not really a whole lot to hook under these newer cars. But, you know, I mean, it's not rocket science. Somewhere under the control arm, or if you can get around the frame, is always good. But, you know, I mean, you want to be able to get out from underneath it, but you also want to be able to grab something solid. So, control arm is my go-to. So, now as you can see, we've got that wrapped up under the control arm there. Go and tighten the winch cable up. Other way, because I can never remember and always do it wrong every time. We'll get that nice and snug, and you know, because we don't want it rolling off into any of these other vehicles back here. So we'll jump in, put it in neutral, and away we go. So I got her in neutral, leave the jump pack on, turn the wheels, aim it right, and look at that, she's starting to roll. Let's get her on the ground. Well, hard part's done. She's over the hump, so now we'll just gradually winch out. Let it start rolling down. You do want to watch, you don't want a lot of slack like that right there. Don't just winch out and get this winch line all loose, because then the car might catch and it'll snap that winch line. And that's not good for it or your equipment, so, you know, just be mindful of it. Might need to give it a helping hand along here. There's a little bit of that slack action in the winch I was talking about, but it's really not too hard. Alright guys, so as I go and lower this off the trailer here, it seems like a good time to talk about the lack of freight and the lower rates. My carrier is not immune to it. No one is immune this time of year. We are coming up to a major presidential election. We are in the middle of an economic recession. Those two things are not great for the RV transport industry. That being said, I'm not worried about it. It's not cause for alarm, but it is putting some stress on me and everybody else that does this for a living. So, with that out of the way, of course, you might have heard me at the beginning of the video say this was actually $265 instead of $275. From what I've heard from other drivers, that is more in line with what the industry is paying for doubles right now. And I can tell you that 10 cent per mile drop came directly out of what they consider our fuel surcharge. Meaning they're finding that diesel fuel is cheap enough across the country right now that they can actually justify paying us a little bit less per load. That is something that is decided not only by our carriers, but also the manufacturers. And it never seems fair as a driver, but it is something that is calculated and determined about as fair as can be. So that concludes a very short week, if you can even call it that. Really just 3.5 days round trip. So let's get down to it. Did we make any money? Are we still making money at the lower rate? Let's dive into it. Alright, so our income for this week, outbound gross 795 miles at $265 a mile, gave us $2,106.75. And then the two vehicles hauled back were a gross of $900 for the two total. So for the sake of rounding here, we're just going to say that that puts us at $3,000 for the 3 days worked. I got fuel on the way down and fuel on the way back up for $300 and $320. So that brings our fuel expenses to $620 for the 3 days. And as discussed at the beginning of the video, I had some parts to get from International this week, and that set me back about $800 total. So after carrier deductions, fuel cost, parts for the truck, that brings us down to $1,225 for the 3 days worked. Hardly a good week in my book, but something's better than nothing. And as we discussed, I'm on a wait list with my carrier. I'm lucky if I can get one load a week. So for the time being, I'm just going to keep trying to make the most of it. And that's really all you can do. Try and stay positive and good things will happen. As of right now, we're coming up to the last weekend in September, and I can tell you guys that I am number 3 on the list at my carrier to get another outbound load. So I'm hoping to have something either the last day of September or the start of October here. And we're just looking to keep on trucking and keep on moving, see what we can keep doing here. I've got big goals, and I'm not going to let a little freight slowdown get in the way of that. Thank you all so much for getting us over 100 subscribers as quickly as you did, especially after that last video there. That pushed us right over the edge. It's been great talking to you guys in the comments, and it's great to see this channel grow the way that it is. Let me know if you guys have anything specific you want to see or you want to hear about. I'm happy to fill you in. But for now, I'm Connor with Crossbuck Transport. Stay safe. Take care, y'all.